Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. I'm your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. Now on this show, we try to help you deal with the things that are going on in your life. And I know that everybody on social media seems like they have everything together and their life is going perfectly right. The thing is, I want to show people that everyone goes through things, not just you. And I want to help people get through those things. So I'm here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where I have a guest and we talk about things that have gone on in our lives and then ways you can deal with the things in your life. So we want to have more of a conversation instead of making a presentation on this show. So please ask any question you have and I will get them answered for you. If I do not get them answered live, I will make sure I get them answered after the show. So we welcome everybody who's out there watching. Now, I would also like to say, please hit that like button and hit that share button. And then I would like to introduce my superior guest, Khalil. Hi, Khalil. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. I mean, like you said, it's going to be a great conversation. So I appreciate your time and willingness to let me come on the show. So thank you very
Yes,
much.
of course. Now, while you are introducing yourself and telling a little bit about yourself, I'm going to be inviting people to watch the show with us. So I'll be looking down, but I'm paying attention. Don't worry.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right, so if you would like to tell everybody your name, where you're from, what you do, and why you do what you do, that would be awesome.
Let's get it. Yeah, so my name is Khalil Sikander. I'm actually an educator. I'm a school teacher, high school teacher, coach, author, and speaker. And what I do is I speak in schools. I speak to teachers. I speak to educators. I speak to youth about building a culture of dignity within inside of themselves, within their teams, within their organization. So I live out in Salt Lake City. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, was where I was born and raised. Came out to Utah to play college basketball. Was able to pursue my dreams and goals of playing Division I basketball, and had that wonderful privilege and opportunity to do that here in Utah. And so I'm thankful for the life that I've lived. I've lived a tumultuous life, a lot of ups and downs, and I found my dignity within all of the hardships, within all of the good times, the bad times. When we find our value, when we found what we're worth, we're able to accomplish great things. We're able to change the world one person at a time, one moment at a time. And that's what I preach when I go out and speak. So that's a little bit about myself.
All right, thank you so much for doing that. Now, I would like to say hi to a few people that are watching here. So, hi, Roland. Hi, Dad. I appreciate you guys watching. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Angel. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Teresa. And all right, I'm not even going to try to say that. So we
I
thank
like
you
my name,
guys.
huh?
We thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please share this video out because you never know whose life we're going to be able to affect or even save. So let's go ahead and share this video out. Now, I know personally that a lot of people go through things in life, but they don't post about them on social media. They don't put it out there into the world. So, have you been through anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. To speak of mental health, I actually suffer from PTSD, complex PTSD, and I also suffer from depression. Um, my life from when I was brought up in Brooklyn, New York, I've experienced a lot of traumatizing experiences as a youth. I witnessed domestic violence in my home. I witnessed alcoholism take over the family. My mother raised five of us by herself. I was surrounded by drugs and violence, some of my own choice and some just because of the environment I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Um, and as I moved and progressed out to the West, um, I also had a lot of traumatizing experience in which I was in a car accident in which a drunk driver killed my mother-in-law, and I was the one that found my mother-in-law, found the dead body of the person who um, drove that car and hit my mother-in-law's car in that accident. Not only that, but I also experienced a lot of things as a school teacher that has really crushed my dignity, and that's the reason of why I really truly believe in that word dignity, believe in value, because when you're going through something very, very difficult, when you're going through PTSD, you always focus on the negativity. You always focus on what can go wrong, the what ifs, um, all the traumatizing experiences are constantly replaying in your mind. And once again, I've come to the point, I'm in my life at a point where I wanted to take my own life due to that PTSD and due to all the experiences I've had. I truly needed to dig deep down inside of myself and find my worth and find what it is that I was great at, my gifts. As a basketball coach, I was always giving halftime speeches, always communicating messages. Um, and I felt that this gift needed to be spread in a bigger and deeper way. And so I became a speaker in the education world so I can use these experiences of that violence, of being involved in, around the drugs and around the alcoholism, and help people understand that's not the route we want to take for our lives in order for us to be successful. And so this struggle of PTSD is real. Um, it's a tough illness to deal with on a daily basis, and so learning to know who I am and know what I'm here to do, to know my purpose, and to know your purpose is very, very important for us to succeed and change the world.
All right. I have a question about that. How would you say a person can find out their purpose?
So yeah, that's a great question. Um, as I related to teaching in school and as a youth, when I'm speaking to youth, I always try to have them answer questions like, "What are your gifts? What are you great at? What is your spirit?" We all have this light inside of ourselves. I actually, related to like a little orb. We have an orb inside of ourselves filled with this light. And in that light, we have these gifts. And when we explore, when we use our creativity, we can find what we're great at. We can find our strengths. And so when we dig deep, we write these questions down. We make sure that we get into detail. We really explore. We really explore the things that we have. And when we do that, we can find our value once again. We can find that worth. We find things that we may think we've never had inside of ourselves. Like once again, I just became an author just recently. I co-authored a book. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would become an author. But I started journaling. I started writing down my personal history, and I found out that yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Jeff. And I found out that I'm actually great with words when I write it on paper, and I have a hard time sometimes expressing that. But on paper, I actually write down things pretty well. And so I was able to use this experience with the PTSD, use this experience of my childhood to write down these amazing words that I didn't think existed inside of that spirit that I'm talking about. I mean, when I'm able to shine that spirit, that orb inside of ourselves, once again, that light inside of ourselves starts to radiate, and people see our aura, and people can feel, and people can know that we speak truth, we speak honesty, and when they feel that, you make a very, very strong connection with that individual or with that crowd that you're speaking with, and they can truly find their dignity through my words and through other people's words and experiences. So
That
spirit is very, very, very important and something we talk about.
That is amazing. And I really appreciate you talking about the difficulties through PTSD and just everything that way. And what helped you deal with that was journaling. And you realized that writing your words down was much easier than communicating them for you. And I find that to be pretty darn awesome. Now, I'm going to take a moment here and do a shameless plug. This is my show, and why not? But so this is actually called Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. So it's kind of like what you were talking about, and there's room for you to write in here. It's an actual journal, and it helps people focus on things like gratitude, perspective, and long-term goals in life. It's pretty darn awesome, I have to say. I love that book, and I just want everybody to go and at least check out the first chapter. And the best part of that is you guys can actually download that first chapter for completely free. All you have to do is go to my website at www.jeffmarconetjr.com/journal, and you can see that up there on the screen. Enter a little information, and you can download the first week of that journal, which is over gratitude, for completely free. I just want to help people, and that's what the show is all about, and that's what the journal is all about too. So check that out, guys. Again, we're here with Khalil, and he was telling us about his journey out west and his mental health issues with PTSD and a whole bunch of things. And if you missed them, I tell you, you should go back and check them out. But right now, he is going to tell a little bit about how he thinks other people can deal with the issues in their life. And then we are going to dive into learning how building a culture of dignity within ourselves will drive success in our lives. So if you would like to give some input on how other people can deal with things in their life, or tips, tricks, ideas, whatever you want to give them.
Sweet, sweet. And so actually, so speaking of that and how I go about helping people and helping youth and helping educators and helping businesses find this culture of dignity, I teach something what I call shape, right? I've always been taught how to shape you've always been, well, you're taught, but they tell you, but they don't tell you how to shape, right? They're like, shape your life. If you do this, right? You can shape yourself. You'll turn into this amazing individual. You'll turn into this amazing person. I'm like, well, I need the steps to that. What is exactly the route I need to take? Right? How do I go about doing that? And so I call it shape. And I actually learned it at a basketball camp. And it's actually spelled a little bit different. It's spelled SCHAPE. We won't have time to go over all of it, but I already spoke about spirit. The other thing we mentioned in that term shape is the C in shape, which is spelled a little bit different, is for compassionate communication. We have to communicate in a compassionate way. We have to be vulnerable in communicating. We have to be open, honest, and vulnerable to share our stories. And I think that's where people are afraid. You see it out in the world all the time that, when women are abused in a sense, sexually or whatever the case may be, and that's why the Me Too movement has started, because they couldn't communicate what has happened to them. They weren't able to have that compassionate communication because they think people don't care about them, and they go through their own trauma, and they go through these very difficult situations and circumstances, and they feel like they can't speak to anybody. And so compassionate communication allows us to be authentic. It allows us to close the gap, in a sense, to know that we all have our troubles, as you speak about, that we all have our problems, that we all have our issues, and they affect us on a daily basis. But when we're able to communicate that, people show empathy. People are willing to jump down in the hole with you. They can walk in the shoes that you walk in a sense, for a small time. They might not understand everything that you're going through, but they can sit beside you, and they can feel that pain. They can feel that hurt. They can feel that passion, and passion that you want to get out that hole. And you're the only person that can climb out that hole. We may be able to push you a little bit, but you ultimately have to make those steps yourself to get up that ladder and climb out of that hole. And so compassionate communication is very, very, very important for myself. And I'm not ashamed of this, but I get my compassionate communication through my therapist. I go to therapy, and I'm really able to share my thoughts and my concerns. And as a man, sometimes you say, well, I'm strong enough, I'm tough enough. But tough really, honestly, is just doing the right thing. And doing the right thing for me, going through my PTSD, is speaking with a therapist to get me through the mental challenge that it is every single day, to get out of bed. And when I said sometimes getting out of bed, I feel like I've won a track championship, because that's how hard it is sometimes to get out of bed and fight this illness. It's not easy. And so if I'm able to communicate, if I'm willing to open myself up, I'm able to share, my true self, my true authenticity to the world to help me keep moving forward. So communicating is so very important in this dealing with this illness.
That's awesome. Now, what does the H stand for?
So the H stands for hungry and hustle.
Hungry and hustle.
Correct.
So just like Les Brown says, you gotta stay hungry.
That's right. Exactly. If you're not hungry to change yourself, if you're not humble enough to want to learn and want to grow, how can you get outside of that hole? How can you recover? How can you make the strides to improvement? And so you have to be able to be hungry. Like, you always have to have an appetite to make a difference. And that's what I have, because my dignity has been, trampled on, because my value at work, or my value when I was a youth, has been broken, or not so to speak broken, but it's been molded in a way that hasn't made me feel like I've been important. I want to spread this love, and I want to spread this compassion. I want to spread this unity, because we unify through dignity. We overcome our conflict with one another through our dignity. And if we are humble and we are hungry for that, we're willing to do things that the ordinary people don't want to do. Right? That's what makes us great, is because we want to do the average things, but if you want to be great, you can't do average. You have to do what great people do. That doesn't mean I'm going to be famous. That just means I'm going to be great at what I am and who I want to become, and to impact the tribe that I'm surrounded by. And so if I'm not hungry and if I'm not humble enough to do those things, I'm never going to change myself first. I'm not going to change my family's circumstance. And I can't change and impact the youth that I speak to and the educators I speak to. So I really believe that being hungry and hustle and humble, you'll get to go great places. And I'm not talking about vacations. I'm just talking about your inner self. You'll go great places within inside yourself that you didn't know possible.
Yeah. Now, one of the main things that I like to talk about is the gratitude that people have so much that they need to be thankful for. Now, I have a friend named John Bull, one word, John Bull, that's his name. And I mean, he has a last name, but his first name is John Bull. Now, he lives in Nigeria, Africa, and he doesn't have electricity, but he has spoken on events, virtual events that I have hosted. During the event, I mean, it was the middle of the night for him where he was, but he still got up. He was in his room with a lantern. One night he actually had a small fire in his room while he was on the event. And how many of us in this country or even other places in the world have reliable electricity that they take for granted, or reliable internet service that they take for granted? And just, I have other friends that were born without arms and without legs. I know Nick Vujicic, who was born without arms and without legs in Queensland, Australia. And he lives in San Diego, California now, but he is actually married with kids, and he has, all right, I'm going to say he has dignity within himself, because that has driven him to success. And he is one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world now. And it's just amazing the things that you have, the things that I have. All kinds of people have things, and they take them for granted. They don't realize that they could be living their best life in the same body they're in right now. Because if he can do it with no arms and no legs, what is holding you back? So I think that is just that is what we're going to go over in his shape um uh shape method. I couldn't think of the right word.
It's all good.
I just think that is pretty darn amazing. So I have to ask Khalil, what abilities do you have that you often take for granted?
That's actually a great question. What I take for granted, honestly, where I live right now, and the opportunity I have, um, living in a nice home, living in a community that's safe. Um, you know, honestly, what I think I take for granted is honestly my family, my immediate family, as far as my children and my wife, um, and not so much the materialistic things of my home, but what happens in my home. Because I grew up, once again, my mom was a single mom, pretty much. My stepfather was an alcoholic. She pretty much, my mom raised me by herself. Um, I've, I've experienced things that children shouldn't have to watch, shouldn't have to see. Um, and moving from that to where I am now, I don't truly show enough gratitude and respect, that what I have, not a lot of people are able to have. Um, People out there, like you said, out in Nigeria, out in where my family and my ethnic background is from, My dad is from Afghanistan, migrated to the United States. In Afghanistan, the war torn country, um, things that they have to go through, the trauma that they have to see, um, little children um, dying, little children um, being raped, being massacred, bombs being dropped on innocent families. Um, just the things that they have to go through. And I live in this home where I am, where I don't really have to worry much about that. I don't really have to worry about, people coming into my home taking my children and things of that nature. And so it's very, very important to have that attitude of gratitude. Once again, I think attitude is um, a determining factor of what type of character you have. When you have an attitude that is grateful, when you have an attitude of giving and forgiving, um, you allow yourself to accomplish more than you've ever felt you've been able to accomplish. And so, thinking about that really, really means a lot. That I truly do need to think about that, to really truly think about the blessings that I have because of the dignity I have within inside myself, within my family as well, and the dignity that they show to me. Because it's not a one-way street. I think sometimes people think that, the value within ourselves is a one-way street. No, there's people out there that have helped, like you said, a person with no arms and no legs. Someone had to tell them that they were meaningful, that they were important, that they have a gift. That because they have no arms and no legs doesn't mean that you don't matter. Um, Someone told them that they mattered. Someone told them that they were important because someone was willing and daring enough. Because sometimes um, we are afraid. We are afraid to tell someone who has something that's different, that it's valuable. Someone had to tell you that you were valuable to this earth and that what you had and the gifts that you had, no matter what you go through, no matter how difficult your challenges were, that you had something special inside of yourself to change people's lives. And that's what you're doing. And that's what amazing me. And that's why I wanted to jump on this show because this type of stuff is what drives me to want to give my gift out because we all have gifts to give. And we have to be appreciative of that. And when we're appreciative of that, we can jump on shows like this and change even more lives. And so I think that's totally amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, I appreciate that answer so much. And it's just amazing when somebody can be that vulnerable and say things that they often take for granted. And then looking at like your father who immigrated here from Afghanistan and think about the things that he had to deal with at home. And then think about the things that you had to deal with at home to a single mother in Brooklyn, New York. That's just awesome that you're still here and now and you're trying to help other people that are dealing with things and you're helping students and it's just amazing, man. So I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you said you had a crying kid there at home. Now, see, that is something that a lot of people I think take for granted. Yeah, the kid might be crying, but the thing is, you have a kid. You, you that is love right there, and that is something that you should never take for granted. Even if he's crying, even if he's sick, it doesn't matter. You still have that kid. You still have that piece of you that's out there. So I thank you again and I appreciate it. And guys, I need everybody out there to do well, first of all, I forgot, darn it. Khalil, do you happen to have any contact information you would like people to have?
Yeah, so there's two things. Um, right now, my website's under construction, but it's going to be called dignitydrivesuccess.com, and that's in the works right now. Actually, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to throw a pitch out there, but I became an author. If you want a part of that book, go to onehabit.com. The book that I'm a part of that I co-authored. It's on there. It's about the world's greatest leaders. It's forwarded by Steve Samblis and Forbes Riley, and so something I'm very, very deeply proud of. Like I said, never in a million years could a kid from Brooklyn, New York, and born in the ghetto, surrounded by drugs and violence, be in a book that's forwarded by Forbes Riley. So, I'm truly appreciative of that. I'm grateful for that because once again, like you said, not a lot of people have these opportunities, and I'm blessed to have these opportunities. So go ahead and get yourself a copy. And yeah, our website's on coming up. But if you want to contact me right now, catch me on Facebook, Khalil Sikander. Catch me on Instagram, Khalil Sikander. Catch me on LinkedIn, Khalil Sikander. So all the same, it's my name. My name is unique, and so I stick to my name, and so you can catch me on any one of those platforms, and you get a hold of me to speak.
That is awesome. Now, I need everybody out there, including you, Khalil, to do me a favor. I need you to make every second count. Why, you might ask? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, I will see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, guys. And I look forward to hearing from you.